All right, live on a Monday morning, 37 degrees. I think it was just about 30 at my house this morning, Cody. Frost on the windshield. I was like, come on, man. Can we just get to it now? Easter is behind us. Can we just warm up a little bit?
Yeah.
Welcome, buddy.
We're getting that fourth winter here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you?
Pretty good.
What's happening?
Pretty good. I had my cup of coffee earlier, so I'm
just
awake.
You a one cup guy?
Yeah, usually.
All right.
Been able to somehow function with one cup.
Yeah, me too.
So
me too.
How much I'm able to function is probably subjective depending on who you ask, but it seems to work.
What do you have this week? There's so much to talk about. I've been reading about this legislative review over the last, I don't know, couple of days, weeks, whatever it's been, about H703 and 624 and 159, the bills aimed at spending on workforce and economic development and business recovery. There's a lot going on.
Oh, there's a ton going on right now, and a lot of that is funding through the American Rescue Plan, the ARPA bill from last year. So what that will look like, the legislature and the state, the governor is still trying to figure that out. But if I were to guess, we'll probably see more programs like the Economic Bridge Recovery Program, which was a grant program for private businesses geared towards COVID recovery. It's kind of like the Embrace grant and the Community Navigator Pilot Program grant that we've been talking about in recent weeks. A lot of that's going to, again, go towards housing. I'm wondering how much of that is going to be earmarked specifically for construction or if it's going to be towards soft costs, Act 250.
Yeah.
The workforce development part, I understand a lot of money is going to go towards career and technical education. Our CTE center right in here is the Central Vermont Career Center.
Yeah.
But if anyone, I'd be lying if I told you I knew exactly where that money was going to go because we really don't have. There's really no precedent for it. Mm-hmm. A lot of these are. We haven't seen this level of activity geared towards the private sector, let alone these really historic one-time investments in housing. So. It's anyone's guess as to how exactly those monies will be funneled down, but one thing I do know is that it's going to keep me busy, keep people like me busy, letting the community know, letting local organizations, schools, governments, everyone in between know what's out there, what's coming down the pipeline. And that's one thing we've really been pushing out in the last 2 months alone through the congressional directed spending process, through the earmark process, which... that's going to end. The window for that is going to close at the end of this week. So we are actually we are going to be submitting for approximately $8 million in projects today to Congressman Welch. Today. Yep. So when I get back to my office, that's what I'm going to be working on. And then again,
like 143 just for the water cleanup efforts, right?
Oh, that project is. Getting towards a million. That project altogether is because of inflation, because of supply chain issues, and everything else going on in the economy right now. That project is creeping up towards $1 million. So the $260,000 that Berry Area Development secured for that project is starting to. It's very much needed. It's gonna cover less of the project than we had originally hoped for, but.
Sure.
But at the very least, it's $250,000 that the local property taxpayers don't have to pay for through their property taxes. I mean, it's public funds, so ultimately everybody pays for it. But it's that funding, that extra $250,000 isn't going to come through the check that residents write to Carol Dawes.
Sure.
Every quarter for their property taxes.
Thank God.
But for other projects, there's a couple infrastructure projects that we're submitting for. One of them being the main water line, transmission line that goes from the Orange Reservoir down to Berry City and Berry Town that provides a lot of the drinking water that we have here. Mm-hmm. Another one is for the digester cover over on North Main Street. at the wastewater treatment plant.
Yeah,
That's the thing that makes the north end smell.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're submitting for that project again. And another project that has been picking up a lot of life in recent weeks has been the Berry Auditorium. We touched on it briefly a few weeks ago. But we're going to be submitting a proposal that would bring some substantial improvements to the facility, including ADA accessibility, access, means of egress improvements, electrical work, air conditioning, HVAC. So that's
it's such a gem. I mean,
oh, absolutely.
Well,
and that's been a medical surge site for the hospital.
Sure.
As a mass vaccination site.
Yeah.
It serves so many purposes, just beyond a place where basketball is played every spring and where events, gun shows, farm shows are hosted all throughout the year.
Yeah.
Let's see. Michael's got a question, the caps cost. So I think it's around $950,000 for one of the digester covers that we're going to be submitting.
How much?
$950,000.
Ouch.
And that's a huge. So think of the octagon that Lucas John fights / wrestles on.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically something that's that big, made of aluminum, that's welded on top of what looks like a big, like a nuclear reactor style, like silo, and a bunch of chemistry happens.
And we just need one.
We need one right now. Okay. One's getting fixed, and we need another one. But
wow.
When people hear that there are millions of dollars available for this, for that, a little thing like that goes to show that money really doesn't go that far.
Yeah.
Like the city has $2.5 million for ARPA. I know the town has around 2.2, 2.3. So, a lot of people think that this money is going to be available for everything. Well, it's going to be available for a few things and a few things only.
There is so much, and Booten just dropped another comment here about housing, but there is just so much to talk about. There's respectfully, there's some really, really, really important issues that are facing us that are so much more worthy of our attention and concern than other issues here in Barrie City.
Well, the top 3 economic development issues are workforce development, childcare, and housing. Because
workforce, economic development, and business recovery, which is I think 159 too, which is, man. I mean, there's. Oof.
Well, we saw a post from the Barrie Unified Union School District recently as a call out to the community looking for referrals for housing for new people that are coming or that would be hired by the school district.
Over the weekend, Chris Hennessy writing on Front Porch Forum that there's a terrible shortage even for locals. And the school district is concerned because they're hiring. They've got teachers, and Chris is smart to be thinking not about today or next week, but next fall.
Yep.
We need to make sure that the teachers that are being hired, that are coming in and working at our schools, I think of 5 of which he's the captain of the ship of, really have a place to put down some roots and have some stability.
Well, let's say if we need to hire, let's say, a high school principal, and the principal of the year from Rutland, or just to use an example, the principal of the year from Rutland wanted to come and work in Barrie. They're interested in the job. They're all gung-ho, ready to come up here. And what would happen, like us not being able to find a house for that person would mean that the community could be missing out on the principal of the year.
That's right.
From Rutland coming up here just because they can't go and find a house. I mean, I went through this entire thing a year and a half ago when I came up to Barrie. If I wasn't able to get connected with Stone and Browning, to find an apartment up here, then
Perfect example.
I don't know what I would have done. And quite frankly, the single family housing market is just as dire as the rental market.
Yeah.
I mean, we're looking for a house up here, and it seems like everything that is, everything that's quality, everything that isn't a rehab project is on the market for a few days, is on the market for not a long time, and is being bought by cash buyers, 10-20% over asking value, cash buyers out of state. It's difficult for, unless you have that cash, unless you have $250,000 burning a hole in your bank account, and
Sure.
you have the ability to pay $10-20 over asking price and not do a home inspection, then it's harder for younger people or anyone looking to graduate from an apartment to a single family home, or anybody looking to downsize.
Yeah.
So the housing issue is it's a huge workforce recruitment issue.
Of course. And when you get on visitbarrie.com, you see clearly that this city is a great place to live, to work, to create a business, to grow your business. You're doing a great job of making sure that we're not just living stagnantly, that we're exploring options.
BarrieVT.com.
BarrieVT.com.
Yep.
What did I say? Visit Barrie?
Yeah, BarrieVT.com.
All right.
Barrie's digital welcome packet.
Yeah,
Yep.
It's all right there.
Yep.
But we've got to keep the edge sharp if we're going to continue to grow our city.
Yep. And there are many factors for the housing crisis that we're currently in.
Sure.
Specifically up here in Vermont, we have an old housing stock. Houses fall into disrepair and become uninhabitable. But the biggest issue that's driving this is changing family dynamics.
Sure.
Households are becoming smaller, so a 3-bedroom apartment might not rent as quickly as, say, a 1-bedroom apartment or a studio. There are a lot of single-parent households, one mom or one dad with a kid that normally would have been 3 inhabitants in a home are now 2.
Yeah.
Or you may have a grandparent that's taking over a child, or you may have 2 or 3 adults that want to cohabitate together and are looking for something. So the nuclear family, 2.5 children, white picket fence dog in a yard.
Yep.
That model is really going by the wayside.
It's changing for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I know the House Commerce and Economic Development Committee is speaking regularly with our governor, and I think their scope isn't 1 or 2 things. It's like a half a dozen at least that they've got to talk about.
Yeah, well, the child care issue is also huge. So Vermont has a residential retention problem. People that graduate high school go off and move to other areas.
Right.
It's harder for younger families to get established up here just because of the lack of available and affordable child care options.
Right.
And that also has ramifications for the workforce.
Yep.
One thing that's been great about the pandemic is companies have been able to shift towards offering remote access for work. And if you're working in a restaurant, if you're working in the quarries, obviously there are some occupations where remote does not work. Obviously, but if you're an accountant or if you're a project manager, a lot of your work can be done at home. There was a time I was able to do this job from home for a week after I did some out-of-state travel back when the travel bans were still, or the travel restrictions and the mandatory quarantine periods after out-of-state travel were still in effect back a little over a year ago.
Right.
But the remote access option has
it's enticing.
It's necessary for some people to be able to work and have a young family.
This is true.
A lot of people a lot of younger families have the choice of they have two choices. Do you have one parent working and another parent sitting at home?
Yeah.
For essentially being a full-time parent at home,
Yeah.
or do you have the for free, or not free, but you don't have to pay for childcare if one parent is home raising the child full-time, or do you basically pay what you'd get in your weekly paycheck to have your child go to childcare, to a daycare center, and have both parents working? A lot of people, you can't buy that time back. You can always make more money, but you can't get the time back.
That's
so
right.
A lot of parents opt for staying at home and being a full-time parent. Now, with the pandemic, with more remote work being available, families that are in that situation are very well suited to be able to go from having one income in their household to two.
Yeah.
So it really leverages a lot of the workforce.
Right.
And even if they were to do the childcare option, or even if like universal pre-K, full day kindergarten, or preschool were a thing, then all of a sudden you're going from 12 o'clock pickup to 2 o'clock pickup.
Sure.
Which is an issue that impacts women more than men.
Yep. And in our situation, it impacts me every day.
Yep.
Childcare, finding it is one thing. Finding affordable childcare is a whole different thing too.
Oh yeah. Well, imagine if you and Sherilyn were in your 20s and you had Lily. What would you guys do?
I don't freaking know.
And that's the question that most people my age are struggling to answer on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything's changed. Everything's changed. And
a lot of these issues. I mean, these issues, the childcare issue existed before the pandemic.
Sure. It did.
If anything, the pandemic helped give more flexibility to ease that burden, because a lot of employers became open,
right,
to having a remote option just out of necessity. Necessity breeds innovation.
Right.
So the childcare issue existed way before the pandemic, but now it's gotten worse in some respects.
Right. Back to working from home. That is it's an interesting dynamic to the workforce that none of us, frankly, should be surprised about, because now people are using this as a leverage to negotiate promotions or incentives otherwise that they maybe wouldn't have been able to without this. The price of gas and commuting. I read over the weekend that 70% of the workforce in America is even turning down promotions in exchange for having the convenience and the flexibility of working from home. That's huge.
Yeah, people want quality of life.
More than anything.
When the pandemic first happened, you had a lot of people that were furloughed, and a lot of people had time to sit at home and really reevaluate their relationship with the workforce. They went from being valued members of a team to all of a sudden just going home and not being employed anymore. In this country, your health insurance is tied to your employer. So you had a lot of people that went from being financially secure to being financially insecure.
Right.
One thing you're seeing with younger generations is them focusing and really valuing quality of life over just money or really anything else. People want to be happy, and people want to be valued and appreciated at their workplace. So a lot of people would rather make a little less and feel appreciated and have a flexible working.
Of course.
Have a flexible work schedule. In our society, over every day, your daily life becomes more automated and more accessible. I can go on my phone right now and I can make my car payment. I can pay my rent right from my phone.
Yeah.
I can go to a doctor's appointment via Zoom from my cell phone.
Sure.
The drive-throughs were created because people wanted something that they could just grab and go. Or they wanted a hot meal, that they wanted to be able to go to McDonald's and grab a Big Mac without having to go in, order, get out of your car. So as technology advances, people want things to become more accessible and instantaneous.
Right.
So what COVID has really force the issue of is the national labor force, a global workforce, demanding the same thing from their employers. So the companies that are able to retain their workers, there's many factors, obviously, that go into it, but companies that are able to quickly adapt to not only changes in their market, but changes in the labor force are the ones that are going to have a better time retaining employees.
That's right. That's right.
It's not just tweaking a product or getting a new product to sell because you see opportunity in the market.
Sure.
That's the innovation that a lot of employees or employers have been associated with or praised for. Now,
right.
Again, with the pandemic, entry-level workers, the workforce is gaining leverage that they really haven't had since probably in our lifetimes.
I think there's also going to be more, in some ways, more eyes and ears on the general workforce. And you and I have talked about this so much before, about productivity versus the convenience of, and responsibility, but the convenience of being able to work from home comfortably in your sweatpants, not having to spend the time in the gas to go to work, to be in an office environment where there's inter-office dynamics that you're not a big fan of, to be able to have the convenience of throwing a load of laundry in real quickly while you're working from home. This is something that's going to be around forever now. Forever.
Well, what a lot of people are finding...
It's affected commercial real estate big time.
Yeah, well, what a lot of people are finding, too, is that they're rushing back to the office to sit on Zoom meetings.
Right.
But what often gets lost in this conversation are the downsides to working from home.
Yeah.
Everyone's quick to point out.
Of course there are.
Yeah, because it's harder to disconnect from your work when you're working from home. If you're used to emails coming in 24/7 at any point in the day, if you're used to taking phone calls from your spare bedroom or your basement or some other designated room in your house, your kitchen table, there's a big mental break, I guess, when you hop in your car. You're done at the office, or you're done at the work site. You hop in your car, you go home. Psychologically,
you're disconnecting.
You're disconnecting. It indicates the end of the day. You're less likely to work. You're less likely to do emails, take phone calls when you're at home. But if you never have that actual break in the day, it becomes much harder.
Not everybody's a punch in, punch out 9 to 5.
Right. Yep. I mean, I noticed that when I've had to work from home from periods at a time, You're
definitely
I would be more,
perfect example.
I would be more willing to work until 7 o'clock or so at night, and without even thinking about it.
Yeah. That's right.
Or 8 o'clock, and that's just beyond just like regular meetings. But
real quick, I just want to touch and go on this, just because if I don't, I'm going to forget. You and I were just chatting a little while ago about child care and affordable child care and available child care in the state of Vermont. One of the bills passed by the House, H510, which is creating this child tax credit of $1,200 per child for any family making under $200,000 a year. And that bill alone, and the House did not include it in their budget, $50 million. So I just wanted to mention that, because that's something that is being discussed right now in the Vermont legislature. So,
well, it's good that
$50 million,
and that's not going to last long.
Isn't that amazing? It's amazing.
Yeah, it's.
People are rethinking having kids, man.
So I heard something over the weekend that made me laugh. Younger people are having fewer and fewer children, and that's mostly because of economic security or insecurity, and younger people looking to realizing that they can pursue their own life and happiness and not have to follow the mold of the
Right.
nuclear family.
Right.
You live through two once in a century economic catastrophes before the time you're 30.
Yep.
You're probably going to rethink having a major financial obligation.
Yep.
Unless you are completely 150% sold on it. That's. I saw something over the weekend that made me laugh a little bit. Younger people are getting more houseplants. That's a trend. So it said, for Gen Zers and millennials, houseplants are becoming pets. Pets are becoming children, and children are becoming exotic animals. You have to be either crazy or rich to have one.
Oh my God. Some real truth to that, though.
A lot of truth to that,
My God.
and that's how a lot of younger people feel about
Yeah,
this.
isn't that something?
I mean, how much does it cost to have a child? Like
geez.
150 grand, 100 grand or something?
Oh no,
It's
no.
absurd.
It's. I think what I, you can Google it, but I think last I heard it was like $250,000 by the time they turn 18. So.
Right, and
that's
and
that's basic stuff.
And I mean, our parents back, you and I, they were from a generation that was able to support a family on one income.
Right.
Years and years ago, when you're going back to the nuclear family, mom or dad were able to get a job in the quarries, and they were able to support a kid or two, buy a house for 9 cents and a Pop-Tart,
right.
and go to lunch or go to college for $2,000 to UVM, and life would be great. Obviously,
Right.
Inflation happens, the value of the dollar, things get more expensive over time.
Yeah.
But wages haven't kept up with inflation of higher education, with housing, with other things that are needed to really sustain a middle class life.
Yeah.
So it's when does it end? Who knows?
Right.
But luckily, in the U.S., we have a lot of inbound immigration that's helping offset the lower birth rates. I think during the 2010 census, there was a dip in the birth rate not seen since around the Great Depression era. And I don't know when it ends.
One of the things I wanted to tell you this morning, I haven't had a chance to, is that Margaret Ferguson is going to be coming on really soon from Capstone. Really soon. Not sure the exact date, but it's going to be soon. And, of course, she's going to be, God, what an amazing woman, what she does over at Capstone. So if folks listening are either thinking about starting up maybe a micro business, or they know someone who might be wanting to do something like that in the future, this is a perfect person to pay attention to.
And she's someone that we've worked closely with. We've helped a couple of the same businesses.
Yeah.
There's a business I can think of right now that reached out to Tracy at the partnership looking for help with marketing.
Yeah.
Then she made the introduction to us. We worked with her with the same business to help them get financing, and Margaret also helped this business acquire some other things and grow their business a little bit. And that's just one example, one of many examples of micro businesses that have been helped by Capstone's micro business development program. They really do a great job over there, and and it's great that they're
some of the
very
classes
focused.
that they teach are, I believe, are like free.
Yeah,
you can learn. You can learn just about how to market your social media and so on and so forth.
Make a business plan.
Yeah,
they'll help you figure out what is needed to become bankable, so that when you do want to go and purchase that building to open your store, or you do want to buy that piece of equipment to grow your business, they'll help you pretty much put together the pieces of your business that are needed in order to get to that bankable state, so that you can go to you can come to us through our Berry Revolving Loan Fund program, our Job Creation Loan Fund program. You can go to Community Capital, or you can go to Northfield Savings Bank, or any one of the other commercial lenders
I
here.
hear so many great things about Community Capital.
Oh, they do a great job. Yeah, we're lucky to have them right in here in our community. Vermont Community Loan Fund, they're another organization that we work very closely with. They've also had a huge impact right here in Barrie City and Barrie Town. And the nice thing about being located next to a state capital, as we are here in Barrie, is that you really do have access to, like, very close, up close and personal access to a lot of the lending institutions, a lot of the grant funding institutions, the pivotal partners that are needed to make a project happen.
Yeah, understatement. I mean, you're in the hub of it right here. My God. I meant to tell you that Raylene and I got over to meet Jim and Larissa over at Rise Up Bakery. What an experience over there.
Did you try their bread?
Raylene did. I haven't been over there.
Gluten allergy?
No.
Celiac?
Not at all. No, I just busy running around. But Raylene got some of their Easter breads that they were making. I mean, just the smell in the parking lot.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, their bread is just absolutely amazing.
You know, shame on me for not even knowing that building behind the Labor Hall even existed, and it used to be a bakery back a gazillion years ago.
Yep.
I mean, what a perfect place. You know, you walk into a place like that, and if you're thinking about having, I don't know, whatever it may be, a store, not a good option. And then another business idea that you have, a building like that is just amazing. It is literally like they're so lucky to have a building like that.
Oh yeah, and they have people from all throughout Vermont that'll drive right up to Barrie to buy bread from them. They told me recently that they have somebody from Canada that comes down and buys bread on a regular basis.
Yeah, the baguettes.
Yeah, they come and buy baguettes, which is just a cool little fact. But they've done a great job over there. Over the weekend, we had Made in Brazil.
Yes,
they had a ribbon cutting. Yep, they had a ribbon cutting. Yep, they had a ribbon cutting on Saturday that Tracy and I both went to. They now have a buffet.
Fantastic.
Yep, they have a buffet and booths in there. And
a nice sign out front now. Slow down just a pinch when you're passing in front, and just gaze over at the sign on the front, or better yet, make some dinner plans or lunch plans over there soon. It's great to have them right here in town.
Oh yeah.
And Rainbow Bridge Community Center, they're going to be pulling the trigger June 4th.
Yeah, that's Saturday, I believe.
Saturday, June 4th. Yeah.
Saturday. That's going to be
right next door to the Made in Brazil.
Yep, that's going to be a good time. So we're gonna be over there. We've been working with Greg, over the past few months, just working with them to try to help them get ready to hit that opening day, that very exciting day. I'm excited to have them in here. The community has been calling for a community center for quite some time now, so they literally have community center in their name.
Can't have you in here without saying available storefronts. If you drive and you see an available storefront, you're curious about it, what's the first thing that you should do? And maybe the second or third?
Well, if there's a number
that's on the window.
If there's a number on the window, give them a call.
Start there.
Yep. And depending on where you're at with your business, a lot of businesses will go and expand and never need to get a hold of their local government or us, outside of like basic permitting. But you can give us a call and we'll help point you in the right direction of what you need to do in order to open up that business. Or you can give someone like Margaret Ferguson a call over at Capstone Community Action in their micro business development program. If you have a concept that you want to pursue, and you want to start your own business or grow your existing micro business, or another great resource right here in the community, right over on Granite Street, actually over across the street from the Labor Hall is where Capstone is headquartered.
And what if you need some help, some financial help?
Yeah, so you can get in touch with us. We also mentioned Community Capital and Vermont Community Loan Fund. You can get in touch with them. You can also, one thing I recommend of businesses whenever we start talking about the prospect of acquiring some sort of commercial capital is I ask, who do you bank with? If you are if you have your mortgage for your house through Northfield Savings Bank or Community National Bank, I would always recommend that you look at starting your commercial relationship with that same institution, just because you have that pre-existing relationship already in there.
That's right.
That's another good. That's another good thing to consider when you're looking to start that. But if you're looking to create jobs, or if you're looking to retain a couple, if you just need to buy a new piece of equipment for your company, and you're not looking to hire anybody or bring anybody on, but you're looking to just kind of modernize the way that you do things, we have a revolving loan fund program that's specifically earmarked for Barrie businesses. So that's something that you can call us about. The lendable amount is $35,000 per job created, with a minimum loan amount of $25,000. So, JD, if you were to buy a building to hire a couple people, like if you were to buy this building from Justin Lawrence, and you were going to hire a couple more people to come on, and assuming that your company is bankable and everything else, you had a business plan, everything else lined up, then you'd be able to contact us, and we in partnership with the Vermont Community Loan Fund would be able to help get you some funding through that Barrie job creation program.
So you said, one more time, a minimum of $25K?
Yeah, minimum $25K, but it's $35,000 per job created. So if you're creating 2 jobs, or retaining 2 jobs, then you'd be able to get up to $70,000, just based off of that logic. There are many other factors that go into that, of course, but that's something that's available here for businesses in Barrytown and Berry City. And
wow. That
program has helped create jobs up in the Wilson Industrial Park. It's helped create jobs in the downtown here. So it's had a meaningful impact in the lives of many people in our community.
Can we get someone on the air to talk about this a little bit more in depth?
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
People need to be aware of this kind of stuff.
That's why I'm here.
And not walking around unaware of it. I mean, that's like imperative stuff right there.
And we've got a couple companies right now that we're working with potentially to utilize that program. We often have a company that's looking to either purchase land or purchase some equipment. Not everything is a huge purchase, like buying a building and moving into it. Sometimes a company just needs to, maybe they're leasing a property and they want to buy it that they're already in. You'd be a perfect example. You have lease space in here, and maybe you just want to buy the building. Maybe nothing else really changes. Or maybe you need a new CNC machine for your company in order to modernize your manufacturing layout.
Sure.
And that's something that we could help with.
I was just recently speaking with Bill and Tracy over at Giroux General Transport, one of our presenting sponsors here over in Barrytown, and they are just wow.
It's a good sign.
They are just growing at an unbelievable rate, and they need to expand, not just CDL classroom space, but also their trucking fleet.
Yep.
Not the kind of thing where you can park a couple of rigs in the driveway. They need to expand.
No, I mean if you're having newbies learning how to drive big trucks, you're going to have to upgrade your fleet eventually.
Yeah. But it's exciting, and there's certain sectors of the market which are really rebounding well. and doing well as a result of other things that aren't so great, like a supply chain issue.
Yep.
So, which has
it's
direct correlation with workforce.
Yep.
So anyway,
seems like the CDL driving schools are doing well right now,
Yeah.
which is a very encouraging sign.
That's right. Nationally.
Yep.
What do you have going on today and this week?
Well, today we're finishing up
Today's-
on a handful of about $8 million
Yeah.
worth of funding requests for the city of Barrie.
Damn.
So fingers crossed. Hopefully we're able to. Hopefully our friends in Congress are looking down upon us. Hopefully everyone in those appropriations subcommittees are thinking highly of Barrie. Hopefully they've been here and have seen Hope Cemetery, have been to Thunder Road, have been to Rock of Ages, been to the Granite Museum. And then, so that's for Welch. And then Sanders, the earmark deadline for Sanders is Friday. So I'm going to be writing some more support letters for local organizations that are putting in for projects, just to hope that they get funding as well. And then we'll be putting in for a couple more projects. And then a lot of following up with businesses that are looking to grow, looking to expand. So it's going to be a busy little week.
Keep us posted.
Yep.
And we also encourage folks to keep very careful watch of Berry Area Development's Facebook page, which you guys do a great job with, and berryvt.com.
Yep.
I already look forward to chatting with you again, man.
Yeah.
Keep us up to speed on what's happening. I know you will.
Yeah, and we've got a few guests that we're expecting to bring in here in the coming weeks. So everyone, stay tuned.
Yeah. Thank you, my friend. We appreciate it very much.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Monday.
Yeah. Right now, 37 degrees in Barrie. It's exactly 10:05. Be well. God bless. And speaking of Thunder Road that Cody just mentioned, we've got a couple of drivers that are going to be in just a little bit, right around 11 o'clock. The Woodards, Kelsey and Tanner, and their crew chief, Albie. Not sure if Jason will be with him, but we look forward to chatting with him very much as the Thunder Road season gets ready to kick off. What is it? Year number, I think, 62, 63, something like that. May 1st is coming up soon. Hope you had a great Easter, by the way. Forgot to mention that. I still got a little bit of food coloring dye on my hands, so it was just an amazing weekend, and I hope it was for you as well. We'll catch you again real soon. God bless. We'll see you then.